Loading. Welcome to Access the Animus.
Hey everyone and welcome to a new video here on Access the Animus. No intro this time, just a very quick video on something that happened pretty recently. You might have seen that in his last video, Andy Reloads has shared a picture featuring some new Isu language coming from the game files of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which might be tied to some potential upcoming content that might be pretty spoilery, so of course if you'd like to know more about that, you can find the link in the description, but our video will not be about that in general, and instead it will just focus on the new Isu language content shared by Andy, and we're going to have a brief look at the very limited information we can glean from it. Now, depending on your idea, this video might or might not be considered spoilery, because yes, it's about something that was found in the game files, which, as usual, doesn't necessarily mean it will end up in the game in this shape, or with these exact words, or at all. But at the same time, we can tell you from the get-go that while we did try and get what it means, we have not translated a good chunk of it, because a lot of the vocabulary here looks completely new to us. So there is no story meaning here. For now at least, and thus you might also consider our attempt at a translation here more of a teaser or an appetizer, because we wouldn't be able to spoil this even if we wanted. So if we try to make the language a bit more visible, this is basically what we have. As you can see, it's a huge amount of Isu language, at least comparable to the long sentences we have gotten during the Saint Denis mystery, which appears organized in 5 lines, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be made of 5 sentences. In terms of pronunciation, the sentence can be read almost fully, although we'll spare you from that. But the good news is that this character, which we don't know the sound of, is present multiple times in this chunk of text. So hopefully, if it's going to actually be read or pronounced by an in-game character, we're going to get to know how it can be romanized and especially which sound it is associated with. Moving to the actual analysis of the text, we have 5 verbs here, and interestingly enough, 3 of them are past participles, which is rather unusual, and we can try and assume the meaning of 2 of them. One has a similar root to the word sanitation from the cobblestone file from the main game, so we can hypothesize this is something like sanitized or purified, while this other one has a similar root to the word understand from the Loki sentences of the Ubisoft Forward presentation, so again we can assume this might be something akin to understood. The last past participle, sadly we don't know what it means or what it might be referred to, but we can instead try and guess the meaning of another verb with this one, stulundihru, which is in its passive form, present tense, third person plural, but also has the root of the word sight, again from the cobblestone file. So the passive form for a verb derived from the word sight could be something like are located or they are located. The last verb, we also don't know what it means, but we do know it's in the present tense, second person singular, so fingers crossed we're going to know more about it soon. We also have some adverbs, or we presume them to be, as we have seen multiple times that words ending with this character, h, are indeed adverbs, kinda like the suffix li in English for adverbs like warmly or heavily. Again, sadly we don't know what they mean. We also have the characters that identify a direct object in these 2 words, which are tied by the conjunction vat or quat, that means and, while coupling 2 nouns, like destruction and death from the Sagastone file we saw in the main game. Considering this final verb is the only one in its present tense, then these should be its direct objects. The conjunction vat or quat can also be found at the start of the text, this time tying 2 words in the ablative case, that is kuse and quawe, and could represent any kind of complements like the locative, instrumental or temporal ones, while the 2 words are followed by a third one, hun, which we haven't seen in this form specifically, but looks very similar to hun u from the Canterbury file, which meant but. So this too could maybe mean but or something else entirely. We also have two words in the genitive case, the latter of which means of death, as it has the same root for the word death in the Saga Stone text, and thus we can surmise that this might be an adjective referred to it. And then, finally, we have two words that we actually know. The first one is du, meaning you, as we saw in the Muspel Gate from the E3 presentation, and it is very likely to be the subject of this verb conjugated in the second person singular present tense. The second one instead is inside, as we have seen in multiple files from the Collection Edition mystery of Valhalla's main game. So there you have it, this is our very partial analysis and translation of this new and mysterious portion of Isu's script. It seemingly deals with purification, death, understanding, and some plural things that are located somewhere. Like we said, not a lot to go with, although it does feel pretty exciting to sink our teeth on some new Isu language, and honestly we can't wait to see how or if this is going to actually end up in the game and what its finally meaning will turn out to be. And what about you? Are you excited about having more Isu language in the game? Do you think this message might lead to some kind of bigger mystery? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.